of the time you are eliminating. So this will only matter when we, Mr. Smith, let's go over the details of this home now because this is the one. Super excited. And honestly, I very rarely ever use these. Because the bottom line is you're there because it's the one or one of the ones, and then the thing that sells the home is that beautiful view. So we're just out there like talking about that amazing view and their kids running around the backyard and their dog biting at their kneecaps, and we're in the deal. Like she drinks wine in the evening. We're just talking about that conversation. We know it's the home. If you put the MLS in front of them, they're gonna get distracted. Which apparently you've seen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about their furniture, how it will fit in their home too.
Yeah.
Because they'll mention their furniture, and I'm like, oh wow, that would look nice if it was set up.
Yeah.
And then they start visualizing themselves in the home.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, there's always coaching moments, right? So flip that around. So start saying, tell me how your furniture would fit in here, right? Let's talk about your furniture. How would you fit it? And then when they start elaborating there, when you ask them, then that's a whole other level. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anybody else on showing? So that is awesome on the MLS sheets. Remember the MLS sheets conversation? Yeah. That was one we had early on, right? I remember Brooke was like, she's like, that's genius. I'm like, write that shit down. I said something genius. That might be a first, man. But
I don't prove them out anymore.
Yes, I'm good, man. That's it. I got one genius thing.
Same trees.
That's it. Anybody else on showing homes on actually the strategy of narrowing down and showing, simplifying? Anybody?
Did the first step with it.
Yeah.
But after we had sat down, really mapped out the correct plan, from there we realized that they weren't on the same page, so we held off from showing homes. So it actually helped me from wasting my time.
Love it.
But sitting down and really having that true and honest conversation and making them get real about what they're really looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. So having a strategy and a plan does allow you to slow down with the folks.
Right.
And then you're able to capture that relationship and get everybody on the same page rather than just being that showing instructor and you're just out there just moving fast and getting nowhere. Right? So I remember you actually shared that with me.
Yeah.
All right, so just remember, there's a strategy. Keep it simple. You're eliminating machine. You're looking to purchase, high level of interest, or eliminate all the time. You're summarizing why or why not. And whenever they've chosen one that they like, but they want to see the others, when you get into the next home, always compare because they're going to like one over the other. And they like both of them, but one just got eliminated, right? So your goal is to find that one that's the wow factor, and that's it. So let them know. Pre-frame them. Future pace them exactly. This is how it's going to go, right? This is what we're going to do. All right. Last before we get into the HECM. Liked versus respected. This got some good feedback. I see Christina's smile over there. This got some good feedback on the team. I've heard a lot of different. Somebody give me an example. You can give me yours if you want. Christina has one.
Talked about it way too much.
She has. We've talked about this. But somebody give me an example of how that's impacted their business, or maybe they turned the corner, or it was an aha in their business where, you know what, I need to focus more on being liked. I'm being respected than liked. I see Olivia. Olivia, we've had a major.
We talked about it too much too, and so I'll tell you what I took from it, and I wrote it down.
Okay.
I actually had a screenshot on my phone, and I saw the quote, and I was like, I'm gonna write it down just in case.
Yes.
But so what I took from it is wanting to be respected. It actually indicates that you would stick. I'm gonna stick to my values and my goals instead of focusing on pleasing everyone around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do because I focus on pleasing everyone around me all the time.
Yeah.
Just have to, it's got to be a happy medium.
Well, I'll share something with you. We always, I do my best to know all of you guys individually, and hopefully I do a good job there. But Olivia loves football, right? So of course, I'm a sports junkie or whatever. So I'm like, which sport do you love? So football. I said, all right, I'm going to share with you what position you are as a client care specialist, and she's the quarterback, because the Trembley group hikes her the ball, right? And now she's got to facilitate. She's got amazing wide receivers and running backs and everything. She's got to facilitate, right? So she's got to also facilitate to you guys as the agent and to the lenders. And so it's her job to lead the process all the time. And you can't do that just being in the light zone, right? Quarterbacks are in there. They're bringing it in the huddle. They're putting the plan in place, and they're going and making it happen, right? And if they fumble the ball, nothing happens, right? So you got to really be a high level. The top quarterbacks are always super respected, for what they did. Anybody else on that note? Liked, respected? I've talked to a bunch of you about that world. Anybody?
If they respect you, they'll like you.
What's that?
If they respect you, they'll like you.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's definitely the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hand in hand. It's like, to be respected, sometimes you have to be stern at first as a manager. I learned this a while ago, but in the long run, in the short term, they might not like you, but in the long term, once they respect you for being, stern and honest with them and open, they will like you even more. It kind of opens up.
Yeah. Respect means honesty. It means honesty. It means caring. It means trusting. Right? Think about the powerful words. It means leading. It's all of that stuff and all these things that you would like in your life. Period. Right? And Christine and I have a conversation. So let me ask the room here. I mean, if you meet Christina and you don't like her, is something wrong with you? Agreed,
Yeah.
right? How could you not like Christina, right? She's just super swimming. So I was having fun with her. I'm like, you got that, right? Because she's just such an amazing person. So let's take it to another level and gain the respect and professionalism, right? Because they're going to really, really like you at a deeper level because they respect you and get things done and move things forward. And so just hone into that. And I'm telling you, the top, Jeremy and I have worked on that for 23 months. And he'll tell you, when 23 months ago, he come out of the new construction world, he's like, he'll tell you, he was kind of living in the light zone. That guy now is bringing it, like total respect. I've got a plan. I've got to have a strong mindset. We're going to get things done. Come on, mom and pop, follow me. We got this, right? And that's when they're saying, Christina, what do I need to do? I know Brett's had that question. They start saying, Brett, what do you think? You're at that level, right? Which is it's fun because it's respectful. You've listened. They know you've listened, and now we're on that same page, And you're the consultant, You're the advisor. You're the one who's driving that. So keep living there. I know it's impacted everybody. All right, that was the recap. Now, define the new program, Larry Reed and the home equity conversion mortgage. Who in the room has actually, first of all, heard of it? Heard of it, yeah. Does anybody, well, let me ask Brett, because I know he's heard of it. What, in your words, how would you define the home equity conversion mortgage? Just as simple, but how would you define it and what will it do for a client?
It'll open up doors, opportunities, for what they're really looking for.
Yeah.
If they can't afford what they're looking for. So if they're meet the requirements of the HECM,
Yeah.
It will gain more opportunity to increase their price point, gain more opportunity as far as what they're exactly looking for in their retirement home.
Yeah.
And it's a great program out there for retirees 62, right?
62 and older. So I was hoping that you would say there was some of that information there. So how many times, now, a lot of us are just getting going, but I guarantee you're having a bunch of conversations now for sure. And a lot of things are happening. But how many times in a conversation have you noticed that somebody might be, their criteria says they want this home that's worth this much, but their budget is this much? Has anybody run across that before? Like Jessica's eyes are popping out of her head up there, right?
Yes.
Maybe happens a few times, right? Just a few. 38% of our purchasers over 2 years just at the Trembley group have been cash purchasers, right? Well, why is that? Whenever we did the active adult community down south, we ran about the same numbers. Why? Because 50% of your market are retirees. What do they have sometimes? They've got cash. What is the number one fear of retiree?
Outlive everyone.
Right? Did anybody think it was death? Yeah, because it's not. It's running out of money, right? So and I'm leading into, I'm going to have Larry share some ins and outs on the HECM. I'm leading into this program allows folks to get more. Let me back up. How many people, right, including everybody in this room, would like to get more home or more of what you want for less money? Right? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, that's wrong. I need to do that now. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, you know, seriously, it's like, how many would want that, right? Retirees are way more tuned in to wanting that because their number one fear is running out of money. This program is put in play to handle that situation, to give them everything they want and have more money for retirement. It's really, at the end of the day, that's pretty simple. That's the power of the program. And then there's some ins and outs to it. Couple things I'm going to share with you. You have to be 62 or older. One of the husband or the wife. It's still just one, right? Yeah, just husband or wife. It has to be your primary residence. Just like all of us in the room, you can't have any foreclosures or short sales or what have you. Tax liens. So I've got the 62, got the primary residence, can't have another FHA loan. Right? You can own, we've had them that own 3 or 4 other homes, but you can't have another FHA loan. Right? This is an FHA loan, which is beautiful, right? Those are, am I missing any of the specific?
No, I mean, the thing that you've talked about, I think, is important. Not that you guys get into the loan itself that often, but the idea of credit, because we really look at pay their taxes, pay their insurance, homeowners association, basic stuff for operating your home. If you've done that for the last 2 years, you're pretty good with this loan. Because chances are you've paid your other credit on time also. That's the income. We don't really care about income, having a job, but what we look at is what is the longevity expectation of the retirement income? If they have Social Security, it's a lifetime. If you have a pension, is it going to be there? So we look at it a little bit differently than you do with a typical buyer of a home that's less than 62.
And so it's really, I mean, they just need to take care of the taxes. They need to take care of the HOAs, right? Anything to actually live in the home. It's pretty darn simple. The majority of the time, and we're going to dive deeper into this, but the majority of the time when somebody has an interest in the HECM, the majority of the time they're going to be able to afford that program. The majority of the time, right? When you get to the point they have an interest, it's typically, that retiree typically it's not very difficult once you get there. But, so what is the HECM versus reverse? Larry, I want to just, has everybody heard of a reverse mortgage? Right? All right, so Larry, just explain, in as simple terms we can, home equity conversion mortgage versus reverse mortgage.
Yeah, reverse mortgage, the ones we see advertised on television all the time. And that is somebody that's staying in their home. They're going to live there, long term, most likely. They've made that decision to continue to live in that home for the rest of their life. And so they may want to maybe they paid off their mortgage, but they need additional income. Or I'm working on one right now that their daughter has a bunch of medical bills. She's their only heir. She has cancer, and they don't want her to be stuck with those bills. So we're doing a refi on the home that's paid for. That's a reverse mortgage to pull cash out, really to pay for her medical bills. So that's the reverse mortgage.
So they're pulling money out of their home. That's the reverse mortgage has been around for years, right? The HECM. Now, Larry, get this. The HECM, nothing to do with your current home. Tell them about that.
Absolutely. And this is all of the people you're talking to that are 62 or older.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving here for whatever reason. You guys do a great job of finding out what those reasons are. But this gives them a chance to buy this home, make a one-time down payment, and never have a mortgage payment for the rest of their life. Those cash buyers, 38%. Those that are retirees, even though they haven't told you, the major driver in that decision is they do not want a mortgage payment in retirement. And it goes back to that running out of money question. They want to expand those proceeds that they've made. They're now on a fixed income. They no longer have a job. So life has changed. And they're learning about that, but they know they don't want a mortgage.
Yes.
This gives them a great option to not have a mortgage payment and put less payment down than you would as an all-cash buyer.
So I'll give you some math too, guys. So here's where we'll keep drilling down here. The home equity conversion mortgage, what happens? Say you were going to buy, say you had folks that had 200 grand cash, but they loved that $300,000 home. Trust me on this, if it hasn't happened, it's gonna happen. You know, and matter of fact, anybody that likes a $200,000 home, they're probably gonna like the $300,000 home. Agreed? Right? So if they had $200,000 in cash and they thought that's what they were gonna do, they're gonna put it all into their home, they didn't want a mortgage payment, but the 300 gets them in the community, close to the beach, whatever it may be. The range is 55 to 60% of their home. So we'll just go on the 60% side. So at 300,000, they're paying, so now they have $200,000 cash. They can buy the $300,000 home for $180,000, never make another payment, get everything that they want, still have a few dollars left over, right, in their pocket, and they're in their dream home. This is the power of the program. You know, that buyer could go to 250 instead of 200, and then spend about 150, have 50 grand left over. This is the power of that program. It is simply amazing. I've never seen, not mine, and Larry, maybe he can differ here, probably not, but I've never seen, it's kind of like when somebody has a budget, does it most of the time go up or down? Up, right? So I've never seen someone that's interested in the HECM go down in price. Matter of fact, it goes way up. They start buying new construction homes, calling people back and going, add the bonus room, add the options, because now they're paying 60% of the options, right? We've seen folks we've had clients that went from a $250,000 budget to buying a house for $450,000 because they could, but they had no idea that they could, right? It's for the retirees that are looking to change their life. All of them want, this is their last home, right? All of them want that dream home. They want that place that's going to be, you know, the husband wants to get it for the wife, right? There's tears all the time. So the math is 55 to 6%. Larry's got some good information he'll give you guys after this. 55 to 6%. You're looking for the cash purchasers. Lots of times you got cash at 100, 150, 200, 250. You should be getting that information. And then if they are 62 or older, as you start diving into it, you're going to want to have this program on your tool belt all the time. You're going to want to pose questions. Larry, let me ask you this. Now, so those are some statistics, some numbers, some dollar values. How can the HECM help their clients?
Oh man, I mean, it really, their client, again, remember this is that client that's a retiree. It's going to open up, as Scott said, it's going to open up a lot more possibilities for the kind of home they can buy. We did one a couple of years ago that they were going to pay all cash. They decided to do this, and the amount that they didn't put down, they set up annuities for their 3 kids. Mm-hmm. Now, as opposed to when they die.
Yes.
I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities to look at life in a different way because of this program. It's not only buying the home that they really want, but it's other things they can do with their lives. And boy, that really starts to touch the heart of a lot of our folks that we work with. And a lot of times it's not quite that gentle. It's just, I'd rather keep more money in my pocket. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Well,
so Larry, hitting the heartstrings, why did Larry's the wife's name's Tuck? They have done the home equity conversion mortgage, right? So you can't have a more powerful representative, right? Agreed? Mm-hmm. So tell them your story. We told this in lunch.
This is my favorite one. Yeah. I want you to know that.
There is a favorite.
Yeah, there is a favorite, no doubt about it. We lived in Columbia, and my wife grew up in Florence, South Carolina, went to college in the upstate, and then we were living in Columbia. She says, I've lived here 30 years. She woke up one morning about 4 years ago and says, I don't want to live here anymore. I thought, what's that about? Can you imagine that question the first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
And
is it with me or was it someone living in this house? One more question, my friend. Let's dig in there. Hold on. Where are we going here?
And let me tell you, I did.
Hold up, Mama.
Fear. But anyway, she said, no, she said, I just don't want to live here anymore. I'm tired of Columbia. It's boring. I want to go someplace else. And so that started for us an odyssey. I mean, Arizona was her first choice. I lived in the West, and I love Arizona to visit, not to live. But long story short, we ended up looking up and down the coast, and we zeroed in on here. Well, then the next step was she wanted to be, and I was very happy with this, as close to the beach as we could afford.
Yep.
And we're in Surfside, about 5 blocks from the beach, and I gotta give her credit. She walks the beach every single day.
And that was it. Like when Larry and Tuck are clients, right? They're real estate clients looking for their place. And so the big wow, at the end of the day, Larry's going to find, he and his beautiful wife, a place where she can walk on that beach every day. I mean, that was it, right? That was the number one emotional draw to the home.
Right.
So didn't mean to interrupt, because he shared this with me like over and over.
Yeah.
So then the program allowed you to.
Well, with this, we sold our home in Columbia for, I think we had net equity of about $175,000, something like that. We had to put a little bit more down, but we ended up finding a home on Surfside Drive that's a 2-bedroom, 3-bath front home, and attached to it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that we have for family when they come to visit. So they don't have to come into our house, and we can kind of, okay, everybody can have a fun time.
Super smart,
Yeah, and it's we, she in particular, but I do too, wake up every day and say we really love our home.
Yeah.
For us, it was perfect.
Right? I mean, it's just that's it, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, his story, so $175,000 out of his house, it's not going to get you right close to the ocean where you can walk on the ocean and walk on the beach every day. But Tuck was like, Larry, I'm walking on the beach every day, and honey, you're going to find it for me. He's like, about phase 4 of March, Mom, we're going to make this happen. So, but that's the power of the program. Let me tell you something too. It's really cool when you're working with clients that are looking at this. I mean, it's pretty impressive when Larry's able to share his story. It's just the truth, and that's how it's changed, and it's impacted his life and Tuck's life, which is awesome. How can this? So just kind of flip it. You guys are probably getting how it can help you, but Larry, how would you say it will help the real estate agents?
Well, what it does for the real estate agents is, I mean, how many of you would like to sell a more expensive home to a client? Is that meaningful to you?
Be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It expands your commission. They probably got something they never expected to get. So it just opens up the possibilities of where you can move them to and the homes that you can look at with them.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. But what they really have done with this program is they've managed to keep more money in their pocket. And I hate to keep going back to that, but for these retirees, again, they don't talk about it, but let me tell you, that's a big, big issue with them.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so remember, nothing changes on the front end of the conversations, understand everything about them, summarizing. This is just an amazing tool to help them maybe get to that next step. Once you identify that they're a cash purchaser, what they're looking for, what have you, then it comes a point you're like, gosh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know what? Based on everything we've discussed here, I've got a program that very well might work for you. Here's a great thing. We know you can pay cash. We know there's a financing option, conventional, but I've got a program that very well may work. Would you like to hear about how you can buy that $300,000 home for $108,000? Well, yeah, but that sounds too good to be true. You're going to hear that, right? So when they say that sounds too good to be true, I always acknowledge it's exactly what I thought too. But it's an FHA program, and let me share with you how many lives we've changed. You know, if we were able to do this for you, would you like to change your life in that way? And they're like, well, yeah, great, right? So it is a true valuable tool to help you get there. It's real. We're in a retiree market. 50%. I mean, we're in a retiree market. This program, like in Florida, this program is all over the place. We've sold more, myself and my teams, over the last 5 years than all the rest of the real estate market combined of these. Simply because we're willing to take the time to educate ourselves and understand how to sell it, and be powerful in the front end and understand our clients. Most agents don't slow down enough to understand stuff, right? Because the people like RFS will always ask me, the company, like, how come agents won't grasp it? Well, they don't slow down enough to understand it, right? And then bring value to the client. So ask us some questions. We've kind of piqued your interest, right? You're a client, because, right, your client may not have heard of this. I'm going to back up for a second. Reverse mortgages they've heard of. This is called the home equity conversion mortgage. Just so you know, they're going to Google it. It's going to say reverse for purchase most of the time. So there'll be reverse language in there. Remember, keep it simple there. Reverse mortgages have everything to do with your current home and pulling money out. This has nothing to do with your current home. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to own a current home. You can just have the cash. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So nothing to do with your current home. So that it's, oh, I saw, well, you did. They'll call it reverse for purchase. You can future pace them and let them know when you're in conversations that this is the language you're going to see. It's that some people will call it reverse for purchase. The name is home equity conversion mortgage. I think Ronald Reagan put it in play.
Yeah, he was the president that signed the bill.
Yeah, he signed the bill. Yeah.
That's how long it's been around.
Yeah. So, what piqued your interest? It's a different program. Ask some questions. I'm going to share some objections, but I'm going to see if you guys.
They have to be cash buyers?
No.
How much do they have to be putting down to get into the program?
55 to 60%, depending on their age.
Okay.
The older they are, the less down payment they have to put down.
Yeah. It's actually a fun conversation, Eric, when you're talking to them. They're like, oh, there's some value in getting older. Well, this is one of them.
Rather than the senior coffee?
Yeah, that's right. By that point, you're in great rapport, when you're having some fun with it. But yeah, and not to go or get too much into the weeds, but say for example, if the husband's 68 and the wife's 60, they can definitely do the program. They base the percentage off the lower age, off of 60. So like in other words, if at 78, and just kind of give you an example, if at 78 it was 58%, then they had to put down. At 60, it might be 54%. I mean, I'm sorry, it might be 64%.
Yeah. Actually, at 62 now, it's just a little over 60.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So just think of 60 as your focus point for somebody that's 62, and it's going to go down a little bit from there.
Yeah. So in that situation, if 60 is at 62 and their wife is 58, it might be 63% or something. But if you got a couple that's 70 and 68, then the percentage they put down is going to go down. So it does go down as they get older. What other questions do you have? Give me something.
What happens with the difference? I don't understand, I guess.
Yeah.
What happens with the
After
total?
they pass on or whatever.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't tell you that. I wanted you to ask that question.
Great question. Actually, maybe we'll do them both at the same time, because they each have a little bit of the same.
Yeah.
So what's happened, they put 40% down, we'll just use it for our conversation.
Yeah.
That means, they're putting 60% down, the other 40% stays in their pocket. Okay, and they really never have to pay this back, which goes to your question. This loan never has to be paid back by the homeowners.
So who pays it back?
Which, by the way, is similar where you have a reverse mortgage and a HECM. On the reverse mortgage, it's the same thing. So lots of times when I get into conversation with it, there's some similarities. This is the newer sister, right? The similarities are you never have to make another payment in your life, which is similar there, but it has nothing to do with your current home. But anyway, go ahead there.
So if it's beautiful for a couple, because if one of them dies, it automatically transfers to the other for their lifetime. That's a big plus. Because what happens with a couple, they're counting on two incomes most of the time. They lose one of those incomes, life changes dramatically, and they're 80 years old. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But this at least secures them a home to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not a gift from the government.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Believe that. It's a safe program. It's got a lot of safety, which is a plus, but it's not a gift. So you're not making a payment, but interest is being added to the balance.
Mm-hmm.
There's two things added to the balance. Again, we don't get too much into the depth, but I'm getting to the answer to your question.
Yeah.
And that is, interest is being added to the balance, and FHA insurance. That FHA insurance is what provides all the protection.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the greatest protection. When they pass away, the second of them passes away, if there's value in the property, it goes to your estate like any other home, right?
Yep. Everybody get that point there?
Right?
If there's equity in the property, I'm gonna break that down just for a second, just to keep it simple.
Yep.
You bought the home for 400. Let's say the 60% was, we'll just keep easy math without me getting calculator. You put down 240, right? There was 160 was the mortgage remaining. You stayed in it for 15 years, and now that mortgage, you bought it for 400. Now that mortgage goes up to 320, right? But the house went up too. Now the value of the house is at 480. That equity in there at that time goes to your estate. It's the estates, right?
Okay.
Now the other side of it,
Gotcha.
There's-
Okay. Now I know where we're going.
Now we're going to go back to 2008.
yep,
When everything flip-flopped, right?
Yep.
Property values went through the floor. If you
Right.
wanted to sell at that point in time, there was really, what are you gonna do? With this program, again, the options are sell it, or the estate can pay it off and keep it, if they wanna keep it in the family. But the really safety valve here is if it's upside down, if we're in 2008 kind of economics,
yep,
this loan does not have to be paid back. The heirs can simply give the keys to the government and walk away with no bill.
And they take the
Plus, all the rest of the assets, maybe there's life insurance, who knows what may be in that estate, that cannot be touched by the government to pay off this loan.
yeah.
So just the property itself.
So, and it doesn't cost them, I mean, they give the keys to the government, if it's upside down by $100,000,
They'll just eat it.
that's the government's problem. And that's where that FHA insurance comes in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go towards credit or anything?
No.
How about taxes? How
The
does it affect taxes?
responsibility that you have as a homeowner with a HECM is the same thing as if you paid all cash, or if you had a mortgage, and that is you pay your taxes, pay your insurance,
Yep.
and homeowners association.
Would the interest rate be the going rate when you get it, or is it gonna be higher?
It's slightly higher, but again, what they're really looking at is there's no payment involved.
Yeah, so Laura, so typically it is about like 0.5 or something, or
Yeah,
half a
0.5%.
point. But when you get into the HECM conversation and they really understand it and they really see the value, the interest rate doesn't matter. Why? Because they're never paying it.
A lot of people are worried about what their kids are gonna get after they're gone though, and that would be a
Yeah.
question I think we get.
Yeah, but here's the thing is the home equity conversion mortgage cannot be, it is not gonna be passed down through their kids.
Right.
It has to be sold at the time of both passings. Or the kids, I mean, Larry can share, the kids can purchase it at market value, or like 5%.
5% under market.
Under market value. But,
That makes sense.
yeah, because that's where the government comes in, there is actually a plan that's, you can't keep passing it down, it's never paid off. So, here's something on the home equity conversion mortgage. Well, let me flip flop on Andrew's question. You know, the recession or what have you. So many folks, bless you, so many folks that would come in and talk to us and be like, they would say this to us: I've got a program we're going to purchase your house with for 50 or 60% of the price, and it's recession proof. I'd be like, and I knew what they were talking about. I'm like, so tell me what you mean by recession proof. And they would give the exact, I mean, they would tell us that have researched it, right? They would tell us because the same thing, if you purchased it for 400, the market crashes and the home's worth 320, say you've been in it for 20 years and now you owe 380, you don't have to pay the difference. It's just turned back up to the government.
Right.
You know, so what they do recession proof is they put their 180 down and they took the other money, the 200,000 they had, traveled with their kids and all kinds of amazing things, and that's all they ever put into that house. So they would just come, whether it's 100% recession proof, that they would come in with that mindset because we don't have to worry about what the market does. We know what we paid for a house, and we got our house at an incredible value, right? And we also can go see our kids and travel abroad and do more things for them as well because we have more money. Super, super, super important. So it goes both ways. Equity goes to you. If it's underwater, what have you, you just turn right over. And another thing, my mom went through with her parents. A lot of folks do. People don't want to deal with the homes. She spent 2 years trying to deal with all the, it's just a pain in the butt. They're like, oh my gosh, we have to deal with this home, right? So a lot of folks look at it that way too.
Sure.
They tell you all the time.
Yep.
Now, what's another question you have? Those are some good questions, by the way.
Okay, so if there's life insurance in place for a couple that has a HECM mortgage, once this second one passes on, if the beneficiaries are their children, can they use the proceeds from that life insurance to pay off the HECM mortgage to keep the home?
If they want to, yeah. In other words, the important thing.
That was a deep one, man. Seriously. Got some coffee in here or something? Jessica's breaking it.
He's doing some thinking. The important thing there is that all of the other assets,
Yeah.
life insurance included, are protected.
Yes.
Cannot be touched. They
Yeah.
belong to the heirs.
Yeah, that's super important too, Jess, is that they will, like, go ask Larry that, but yeah, everything's protected. You know, there's nothing, this is not going against, the only thing you think, the equity will go to your state. Anything else that goes in a different direction, 100% protected, right? So you don't have to worry. I mean, clients love that.
That's awesome.
They love that. What other questions do you have?
So, you need FHA insurance to get the loan, right? How much does FHA insurance typically cost?
There's actually, FHA insurance, it's basically a fee.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a fee attached to the closing,
Okay, so
and then
it's built in.
there's a little bit built in each year. So the two things that are added to the balance are the interest and a little amount for the FHA insurance. They just reduced the amount for FHA insurance, so frankly, it allows the equity to last quite a bit longer.
Okay.
And that's another thing I just thought of, just reminded me of. This age group that's 62 now, 62 to 80, they remember 2008.
Mm-hmm.
They remember painfully what happened to property values and probably their retirement
Mhm.
at that same time.
Yeah, it's up front and center for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta remember, they were close to retirement right then, right? And a lot of them took hits. So a lot of them were thinking, you know, I've got $400,000 to put into a house, and now I've got 200 or 150. So it's super big. What other questions do you have?
They do have the options of paying it each month, correct?
Yeah, that's a good point. It is optional payment. So I did one for a person that was an investor. And so he would sell things and he'd pay it down.
Yeah.
And then he'd use it up for whatever he's purchasing or whatever he may be doing to rehab a house.
Yeah.
And so it became part of his business as well as his home.
All right, I'm gonna flip a script here and give you the other side of how you can use this program. We've been talking, I will get to a couple of objections in a minute. So we've talked about the buyer side, right? Now, how do you think it can help your sellers? Say you're working with a seller here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that's just changing neighborhoods, right? Or, you know, maybe they're going back north, you know, or they're just changing neighborhoods and we get closer to the beach and want to downsize, upsize. Lots of times at that stage they're downsizing, right? They got into, you know, who knows? I mean, they could have got into a neighborhood 10 years ago where there's tons of kids. They got all my 5 kids, like, making them crazy, right? And they want to get where there's no kids, right? Happens, right? So how can this program, I'm getting you thinking here, if you're working with a seller, right, that's trying to sell their house and they're going to buy something else, what is one thing, sellers, do they always think they have the most beautiful home in the world? Like their home is it, right? Yeah. And what comes along with that is they, lots of times, want to price their home like it's it, right? Which typically is not the market value it. It's just their big, right? So how can this help?
So you can assure them, basically, look, the comps for your house are this. This is what you could sell it for, but what you could always do on the back side of that is get a HECM mortgage, because you're only going to need X amount in order to get this $400,000 home that you're looking to purchase whenever you get to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
So basically, you don't have to feel like you're taking a hit. You're not going to be able to get what it is that you want whenever you do go to purchase. You know, you can comfortably set this with your comps and not have to worry about that. You're still going to have that purchase power if you set it in with comps.
So you should be working on sellers, understand what they own the house, what the big why for the move is, right? We're going to pull $200,000 out, and that's why we're thinking about buying a $200,000 house, but same thing, right? That they want more than that 200. I'm gonna give you a true third-party example. This lady, she was probably like 72. She was a Spitfire now, something else. But she went through 3 realtors, and she would not lower the price of her house. And so the realtors were probably all great, you know, but they, of course, they may have been living in the light zone, not being respected, right? But they can never get her to lower it down to market value. So she goes through 3 and she's blaming it on all the other realtors. And she actually calls me up and she's just retired that listing. And she says, all right, Scott, I should have talked to you at first. I know you're going to tell me the truth. I'd like to talk to you. I was like, all right. I said, you better be ready. Oh, and she's ready. Let me tell you something. So we sit down and we start talking about, and so I said, first of all, I'm going to tell you the truth. You're way overpriced, you know, so which one get out? She starts jumping across the table. I was like, slow down. So it's okay. I've got a solution for you, but let's talk about what your end game is. Let's talk about where you're going, you big why. So she already had it picked out, what she was doing. She was buying a townhome. You know, she was trying to sell, her value of her house was in the mid 240s, and she was trying to sell it in the 270s. You know, which just wasn't happening, right? But she had already picked out her townhome for like $212,000. So she owed I think $80,000 on her house, and so she had already done all the math. She was going to try to, you know, sell it in the 260s, net 250 minus the 80. She was going to have 170. I'm just kind of giving you some vague numbers here. Her townhome was going to be 212, so she was going to put 170, all of her cash. This lady's like 72. And still take out like a $45,000 mortgage, you know? And she had very little cash reserves, right? But she wanted to make this change, right? And I said, you know, I'm getting ready. I said, I can't have you jumping across the table yet while I'm sharing this with you. Just trust me. You and I are in front of each other for a reason, and you know this. And so just relax. I'm going to lead you to a solution that's going to allow you to get in that townhome, right? And not have a mortgage. And so she was like, how can that happen? And then she goes, how come no one's told me that? You know? And I said, well, they're just not educated. That's okay. So then I said, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to drop that price into market value. And she says, I'm not dropping the price. I said, you are dropping the price, and I'm going to show you why. And so then we're going to drop it at $245. You owe $80. I'm going to show you a plan that's going to allow you to buy that $212,000 house. For her, you know, let's just call it 55. Can't remember exactly what her number ended up being. So now it's 115 or 116, right? So I'm going to show you how to buy that home for $116,000. Well, how could you do that? I mean, it's 212, you know? Well, just relax. And so I walked her through the program, right? So now we've shown her the value of the HECM, right? She's only putting down $115,000 or $160,000 to buy this home, right? At 245, I mean, how powerful is this? At 245, I think she netted like 235. So let's say 235 minus 80. And I did all the math with her. Remember I told you guys the money's in the math? You got to know your numbers. And so I didn't have my big cha-ching calculator, but I had my other calculator. We're breaking down the numbers. And you know, the more we did, she's just getting close. She's slowing down. She's getting closer. She's like, so, and I said, look, so she's got 155. Not only, you were going to put 170 in and have a $45,000 mortgage. How about we put 116 in and have $40,000 left over in a pocket? She's like, can we do that? Oh my God, you know, and she's like, how do we do it? I want to do it like right now. We sold the lady's house in 30 days. She bought the townhome. She sent me and Jeremy, because I actually set it all up. Jeremy had never done the HECM. I set it all up for him, and he just kind of came in and just did the paperwork. She sent us like and this lady's a trip now, like a page just like we hung the moon. You know, we didn't hang the moon. We just cared. We listened. We put a plan in place, and we did this amazing program. What is her freaking first name?
Oh, God.
She is a trip. You know?
Oh, she is.
Oh, she's not easy now. She is one you have to like brain the respected. As I can imagine, she just blew these other real
She
pages
calls
up.
me still
Does she?
every couple of months.
Yeah.
She says, is this real? She gets us monthly.
Yeah.
By the way, with this program, even though you don't have to make payments, you can if you want to. 99% obviously don't. You get monthly statements, so you know what's happening to your loan. And she gets those statements about every 2 months. She looks at them closely. She calls me up and asks questions.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just so funny.
But do you see, that's a real life true story. You see how that went from fear. She was fearful. She's going through 3 realtors. The reason why she wasn't wanting to reduce her price is because she had her whole plan. And she's a detailed lady. I mean, you walk into her, spotless house, like, you didn't just go like, just throw a leg up and sit on like a recliner. She's like, no, you're sitting right here. Here's your glass of tea. I was like, talking to you, I might get some vodka in it. But anyway, here you sit. This is what we're going to do, right? But she had her plan mapped out, and she couldn't get out of her own way. But that plan was never going to happen, right? So all we did was just show her a plan, And Jeremy was like, what did you do to her? This lady's a firecracker. I came in there, and she's like hugging you and hugging me, and I just met her. I'm like, dude, we got it all figured out. It's all good, But I mean, that's it. It's first of all, it's respected, not liked. Then it's under. See how many sales situations were in that one meeting? Respected, not liked, for sure. Understand your client to a high level. Present a solution that really, really works, and having the confidence that you can make it happen for her. And she was like above the moon. I mean, seriously, sold the house in 30 days, closed within like 70 days, and was in the townhome and super, super pumped.
Yeah.
So it can help you on, if you do your job with your clients, it can help you on the sales side, right? So I'm gonna jump back to the buy side. Why? Give me an objection. I'm gonna throw something out there. Retirees, they don't want to run out of money. We know that. That's number one fear. What else do the retirees that have kids think about?
Their legacy, what they're gonna leave.
Right? Yeah. And what's typically number one in what they're going to leave? Right? Home? Right? Have you talked to a retiree that ever wants to leave their home to somebody? All right, so the number one objection, you got anything you do in sales, you need to know what your objections are, and you need to be prepared to overcome them. I just overcome this one up front. So I've dug into the clients. We understand exactly what they're looking for. The HECM seems to make sense, right? They're excited. We've kind of gotten over the too good to be true. We've shared some third-party stories. We can, Larry actually can send you like a third-party story list of all kinds of clients and their actual story because they're for real. So we've gotten beyond that. And then they're like, all right, Scott, what is it? I'm like, what do you mean? I know there's something you're not telling me. What is it? There's something in there. This is just too good. We would love to do it but there's something. I said, okay, there is an objection. It's the number one objection to this program. Oh yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, I got it now. I knew it. They're like, I knew it. And they're looking at each other like, all right, now we know this is probably going to be for us. I'm like, no, it's just simple. Let's talk about your kids. And here's exactly how I present this one every time. And Larry will tell you, I've taught the RFS company how to present this one. I taught the guys up in, where the hell did I go? Washington, D.C.? With the realtor, with the National Association of Realtors, taught the National Association of Reverse Mortgages how to present this. They were like, oh my God, but it's so simple. And what it is so kids are the most important thing, right? We love our kids, they thought about this. And so I said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you scenario A. I'm going to give you scenario B. Let me finish. And once I do, you tell me which scenario fits you and where you're heading into your life and your values towards the rest of your life. So they're like, perfect. Because, we've got rapport then. We've had great conversations. So it's like scenario A is, once again, I'm in rapport now too. So I can have a little bit of fun here. Scenario A, I'm like, Jim and Sue, we kind of call it the old school thinking. And that is all I've ever thought about is leaving a home, free and clear with tons of equity to my kids. That's the number one thing I thought about. That's scenario A. They're like jumping across. I'm like, just chill for a second. Scenario B is Jim and Sue, my kids, and Lorraine, they're amazing. They make more money than we do. They should actually buy this home for us. They would much rather us get everything that they want, everything that we want. They would much rather us get everything that we want for as little money as possible and live our life to the fullest from this point forward. And they're not concerned with us giving them any money or leaving a home to them, right? Scenario B is we've raised them till they were 40 and we're good. Which scenario are you? This is the number one objection. If they say scenario A, all they thought about is leaving that home to their kids with tons of equity, you got more work to do on the home equity conversion mortgage, or it might not be for them. Are you following me? I will tell you, when you present it that way, 75% of the time, I hear the Jim and Sue go, oh my God, we raised them forever. We're going to do what we want. We're not concerned about leaving them money, you know? Heck, they got 2 Mercedes in their front driveway or whatever they said everything. But when you get to that point and you have them on scenario B, now you know that you might have a program for them. Does that make sense? Because that is the number one objection in this program. It's the kids. It's the number. We've studied it. We've worked it. We've heard it come up over and over and over again. So you don't hide from it. Once you get to the point where you understand your client, you go through it, you summarize, you tell them you have an amazing program, then you'll get to the point and, you know, there's got to be something. Scenario A, all I ever want to do is leave a house to my kids. And scenario B is, my kids are fine, we raised them, they would much rather us get what we want for less money. And I will dig deeper too. If they're being a little bit vague there, I'll ask Jim and Sue, I'll be like, tell me what Carolyn and Joe think. What are they going to say when you tell them that you're doing this for your home? You will identify some stuff there, right? Well, I don't know. We really have to talk to them. Carolyn's really looking forward to us leaving this house. Now you know that you may or may not have something. You walk the road of the HECM, you may have to talk to their kids. I've talked to kids, financial advisors. I think I talked to 4 sons one time. I mean, you know, it just depends on how deep you want to go with it. But if they're stuck on leaving a house free and clear with tons of equity, and that's just all they thought about, you might be moving towards a cash or conventional financing purchase, right? If they say scenario B, because what have you done in sales now? Now you've given them an option to choose, and now you got something to talk about. They say scenario B, now you got a major comment. Whenever they say scenario B, it's fast forward, because we are at the point now where the HECM's really exciting to them, it's making sense. Now we're just connecting dots with Larry and doing some fine details. Does that make sense? Larry, anything you got to add to that?
No, that's great. Yeah. It's exactly what happens. It's exactly what the conversation is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, your word legacy, I mean, that's the one we run into the most, because that's what we've been built to count on. I mean, to leave that home to our kids. It's kind of ingrained.
Yeah.